my name is Mark Boers. I'm president of Synergy Solutions, and I'm here with the Chicago chapter of Mastermind Seminars. And what an amazing group of individuals. And we're in the bonus session, and we're going to be talking about a case study that I think will be very intriguing to you, and pass it along to other individuals. You know, as we help others, they help us, and together we truly can accomplish so much more than we ever could on our own. And so we'd like to go ahead and introduce Bruce. Bruce, you can come on up. It's interesting because you've had a success of late where you have people from your database that are calling you, connecting with you, that haven't called and connected with you in the past. Tell us, I guess, is that happening? How do you think it's happening? What are the different factors of it?
Right. Well, I had an extensive database and have had for quite a while in my business and marketing materials management. I'm always asking people for data, and I didn't really understand the difficulties of putting a database together until I tried to really use it myself. And as soon as you start to, get into the intricacies of putting a database together, it's a time-consuming process. And then all the fears and things that could go wrong and what ifs, and you kind of have to get past that. Well, I was asked by you, how are you doing with your database? And I'm saying, well, I've got it. I'm not sure what I want to do with it. And, you said, well, you've got to develop a message and get it out there to people. And it doesn't have to be that great a message. It just has to be a message. So what I did was I put a message together and then didn't know how to get it out there.
So what we're going to do is we're going to fast forward and then we're going to rewind, okay? Like in the movies, they say, okay, 4 hours ago or a day ago. And so it's intriguing because I have seen this in doing executive coaching for now over 2 decades. I've seen this happen quite a bit. And it's an interesting thing. One of Bruce's executive virtual assistants went ahead and called me and said, and so we're doing coaching for Bruce. It's action vision coaching. So we do a thorough assessment on the business. From that assessment, we build a comprehensive plan. From that plan, then it's helping, okay, what do you do to take care of it and do it? And Bruce saw these great successes, and one of the EVAs called and connected with me and said, Bruce is having people call him that he's never had call him before, but he's not really sure why they're calling him. And I'm like, what do you mean he's not sure? What other possibility could it be? And then it dawned on me that when we see success, often we don't go through and really analyze it, break it down into all the small pieces that created the success. And so, working with Bruce for a number of months, I went all the way back and I said, okay, what did he do? And the first thing he did is he did what's called a business x-ray. It's a thorough assessment on your business. It looks at 3 dimensions, 9 major areas, 7 systems. It looks at over 40 years of your business in life. It looks at what you're doing right, little tweaks that you can do to improve. Did that assessment, and then the next step was building a plan, and there was some trepidation about that, investing the money, okay? And so money's tied to the economy. It's like, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? What should I do? And then there was a tipping point moment where he said, okay, I just need to do it. And then we built an action vision plan. And the action vision plan was going through the 530 grid. It's integrating the BOSS system, the business operating system, the engine for your business. And so the DNA of people, personalities, the DNA of business, the 530 grid, and then the DNA of life, which is going to be the natural laws, bringing that together. Then we started coaching. And we started saying, okay, Bruce, you got to do this, you got to do, okay, I got to do that. And then a month would go by, and a couple months, and he's not getting the work done. And that is the #1 challenge that we have found in coaching. Is somebody, we do the assessment, build a plan. So it's like an architect and you say, somebody says, I want this beautiful business. Okay, here's the plan. We go in, architects go in, and then people aren't able to build it. They aren't able to follow through on the architectural designs. And for about 20 years, Synergy had, in our coaching, we had some challenges in doing that. Because it's like, well, what do? You know, delegate, systematize, contract out, hire someone, partner with someone. Okay, you can do those things, but people still struggle. So, but 3 years ago, we were introduced to Life Masteries Institute, and they have a very extensive executive virtual assistant certification program where they certify individuals to start their own company and then have the systems, and they're trained. There's only 19% of people who enter into the program that actually graduate. It's a brutal program, very hard to get through. So I said, Bruce, you know what? You're not able to get this done on your own. That happens most of the time. Bring an EVA in. They came in and they whipped it in shape, got the database, you know, organized, started to develop and deliver a message. These two things, these two combinations started to happen. Box 1 and Box 2. When Box 1 and Box 2 are happening, when Bruce asked the great questions, how many of you are doing something monthly, twice a month, monthly, you know, quarterly, yearly? You got to do something at least twice a month. You have to do it. You have to bring something of added value. It's not selling your products or services. It's bringing something of added value to those people in your database. That's what you need to do. What are their needs? What are the biggest challenges that they're facing? And so what we wanted to do is, so it's really, and then it's the Mastermind seminars, the Mastermind partnerships. It's all of these things combined together that have created the success for Bruce. And so, what thoughts, questions, interaction do we have? How do we do that? Get people that aren't connecting with you, that should be, could be. How do we help everyone here, everyone on the internet that's watching this now, how do we help everyone do what Bruce's business has been able to be successfully able to do? What do you think?
Get them to a group mastermind.
Can you show us?
Contract out. Hire an EVA to do some of that for you. And that was my sticking point. How much time? How much time do you have to put into identifying your targets, building that database, putting the database into a format that can be sent out, developing a message, and then sending the message? Ultimately, if you don't send the message, you could have the best message in the world, but if you don't send it, it doesn't do you any good, because nobody hears it.
And then how do you grow?
You can track that.
How do you grow the database? How do you expand the database? How do you get it larger? In Napoleon Hill, he talks about whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. So, does everyone in this room want to double your income?
Yes.
Right? Does everyone in this room want to reduce the number of hours that you're working?
Yes.
Okay? So if we want to increase our income, reduce the number of hours we're working, our minds conceived it, okay? Do we really believe it?
Most often not.
Most often not. Okay? So I believe, okay, that August 1st, my business is going to be running without me. The day-to-day operations, I believe that. Now, will that happen? We'll know here very soon. Will that happen? When it happens, and it's not a matter of if it happens, it's just a matter of when and how it's going to happen. It will happen. It has to happen for me to achieve my life vision, for me to achieve what I was put on this planet to achieve. My business has to be running without me. So about 3 years ago, I got an extra 20 hours a week of free time. I have so much free time now, I don't even know what to do with it. Very few business people can say that. Very few dads of 7 children who also do extensive writing, volunteer a lot, on board of directors. do a whole bunch of different things, but I still have an extra 20 hours of free time, and it's not enough. It's not, for me to be able, in this group 2 months ago, there was a gentleman that presented, Dave Libby, that presented a need for, there's over, what did he say, 26 heroin deaths in DuPage County, one of the most affluent counties in the country. Like over 20 deaths occurred because of drug overdoses. Okay, I need to do something about that. Mark Boersma, need to do something about that. We're helping raise funds to stop child trafficking. So I need to do something about that. So there's all of these causes. Tom, past president of Century 21, he helped raise over $100 million for Easter seals. When businesses and community-based organizations come together and bring value, and this same system works for community-based organizations. There's another, this afternoon I'm going to be talking to Remember New, and they rescued a young lady out of child trafficking, and now they're doing it all over the world. I'm going to be talking to them this afternoon about setting up some of these same types of systems. So the reason that I think most business people, even if they can leave their business, they don't have a compelling reason. I have a compelling reason. It is going to happen. And it's going to happen because of the EVAs. Because right now we're contracting with 5 EVA companies. And so there's individuals that run this, individuals that run this. Close, we're going to have this. This is one challenge. This here over 70%. This here they're running too. And that can happen for each one of you. So I want to go over to China. Okay, Amy's not here today. But I want to go over to China, and I want a bunch of you to come with me. I want you watching the video. See, when you combine business with community, it's really awesome. So my oldest son is 24. He and I, when he was 13, we went over to Africa, to Gambia together. My oldest daughter, who's 26. Today. She's 26 today. So she is pregnant with our second grandson. And when she was 12, she and I went over to Russia together. And so I'm telling you, it is fun. It is fun to be able to do community things, worthwhile things, things that have kingdom reward. It is fun to do that and combine that together with business. Okay, so other thoughts on what do we do to get all of our businesses where Bruce's business at? Because that's the next dimension. That's the next step.
Show us how to do that. Do we have time for that, or is that
We
something-
do. We do. The first thing is your life vision. Do you know what you're put on this planet for? My life vision, very simply, is to touch every single person in the world, one person at a time, make a huge difference in every aspect of their life in a fun and exciting way that 7 billion people I need to touch. I am very clear as what my life vision is. That's what drives me to take the risk, okay, that Bruce is taking. So you've got to have that drive. The next piece, you got to have a plan. You don't build a building. You got to have an architect. You probably shouldn't be building that plan on your own because that's not what you do. Get somebody in that does it and knows how to do it. Then you need somebody to help you to understand why you're doing things or not doing things. Then you get somebody else like the EVAs to come in and start taking over these specific things. And then start recognizing how to leverage yourself. Teresa, Dee, Amy, Maria, they've co-authored a white paper. Kevin, Edward, Peter. They're not as fast as the girls are.
We're not.
You know, the boys, the boys,
They develop later.
they develop
later in
later.
life.
I mean, you know, those 3 boys may be running out of runway, just saying. You know,
Nice. Maybe get out from under the bus.
Word picture.
Oh, man.
It's dangerous to throw one of the leader under the bus. You gotta be careful, it'll come back around. So taking and being an author. So I'm an international speaker and author. When you can say that, it means something to people. And we've got a process that's so simple. I'll never forget talking to Tom 7 years ago. And I said, Tom, are you interested in writing a book? He said, Mark, I don't even write a good memo. I said, oh, don't worry about that. We got a system. It's fine. He says, well, what do I need to do? I said, meet with me for a half an hour a week. And we'll just talk. And I'll take what you say, and I'll put it in a book. I'll do all the writing. He's like, that seems too good to be true. So it's up to you. It'll happen. And that's what happened. Now, the system is perfected so proficiently that it'll take 1 hour of your time. And you can co-author a pay-it-forward white paper. And so, my grandparents devoted their life that helped my parents that helped me. So there's a lot of people out there that are willing to help you. So there's decades of experience. And so co-author a white paper. Start talking about this. What's the biggest challenge when you start talking about this to other people? Bar none. What's the biggest thing that people are going to go ahead and have issues with? Time. They'll have issues with time. You got the white paper, The Secret About Time.
Right.
So, you know what? I mean, I have more time. If you say you have more time, what's interesting is when I got the extra 20 hours a week, and I started to share that with people, I was surprised on how much attention that attracted. When you say, I'm really busy, I don't have any time, you're just like everybody else on the planet. You're not special. I mean, you're just like everybody else on the planet. When you say, you know what, I've got an extra 5 hours or 10 hours or 20 hours a week of free time, I don't even know what to do, you become very special. People become interested in you very quickly. Very quickly. And so, get that white paper and start to go ahead and leverage that. So I am not a natural social person. I would just as soon not even be up in front of people. It's, you know what, I'm fine, let other people do it. I like to be the Wizard of Oz, the little man behind the curtain, you know what.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
I'm good with that. But then you go ahead and start to share this with other people. When you start to share things that are this powerful, Amy, I mean, weird, exciting. I mean, I put it out to Amy and a few others and I said, hey, we're doing Jerusalem project on Thursday. Every Thursday, besides this, the third Thursday, we meet at Panera Bread in Naperville. So I said, hey, I'm meeting with some people about bringing peace to the Middle East. It's like, I said, you want to come? She sent out an invitation to 80 people. 4 showed up, which is 5%. 5% showed up. If she'd have had 10 on her database, nobody would have showed up. If she had 19 on her database, probably nobody would show up. Maybe if she had had 76 people on her database, nobody would show up. Because a lot of times it's the last 4. But she has a big enough database where she had 4 Chinese ladies come out with her. Just like that. Boom. Just happened. Really professional women. I mean, very skilled. Looking at starting their own businesses. Some have already started their own business. It happened in an instant. In a heartbeat. And so the biggest challenge you're going to face is people are going to go ahead and be cynical and skeptical. They're like, okay, how do you make money? What is this going to cost me? Is this some multi-level type of thing? That's the questions you're going to get. Bottom line, that's what people are going to say. So, see, I don't have to make money on this. Because I've got an engine in my business that makes money. And so I can go ahead, and that's covering the needs, that's taking care of the things. I don't have to make money. Not at everything. So I'm doing some aspect of my life that makes money, but most of my life I don't make money with most of the things, which is not a big deal to me because that fulfills my life vision. That fulfills the purpose God's put me on this planet for, which is a whole lot more important than making money. to me. What I found though is when you help a lot of people, you're gonna make a lot more money. Kevin, does that,
Mhm.
I mean, see, people like wanna drive up to McDonald's and order, you know, burger and fries. Can I just drive up somewhere and can I just go ahead and get my business to run without me? No. So I've spent 24 years, I started in business 24 years ago with the intention of getting my business to run without me. My goal was to do it by the time I turned 30. This year I turned 50. I'm 20 years behind my goal. It took me 20 years longer to be able to get where I wanted to go than what I had hoped. The secret, okay, well, all of this stuff, the 530 grid, that helped, personality masteries, that helped, the natural laws, that helped, all of those things helped, but it wasn't until I got the EVAs, that's the magic, because they do the work. So when I'm over in China, when I'm over in India, when I'm, you know, helping to bring peace to the Middle East, when I'm doing all of those activities, the executive virtual assistants, they're the ones that are running my company, all aspects of my company. And I know they're going to do a really good job because they own their own companies. They don't look at it like employees do. They just don't. They're trained, indoctrinated, their very DNA is altered to help them think like we as entrepreneurs, we as business owners. Questions, thoughts for Bruce? How do you do it? How do we do it? How do we help one another do it? Fitz, who's in Louisiana, he said he's on Mastermind Partnerships. If you're not part of Mastermind Partnerships, I would recommend that you do it. There's still some scholarships that are available for that program, so it's very inexpensive. The scholarship takes care of most of the whole thing. And he's on that program, and he said, you know, I hope that it doesn't take me 24 years. I hope it doesn't take me as long to get my business to run without me as it has Mark to get his. Well, there was nobody paving the way for me. And this stuff had to, blood, sweat, and tears, had to figure it out, go ahead. System doesn't work. Try another system, another system, another system, another system. So the truth is that most people won't, even with a system, even with a path, they won't do it because they're not willing to make the sacrifices. So intellectually they want to get their business to run without them, but they're not willing to take the risk. They're not willing to put in the time. They're not willing to do the things that are required to do to where you own a company rather than owning a job. And I believe the magic, I really do, the magic is your life vision. Because then you're willing to take risk that you normally would not take. You are willing to go ahead and make massive sacrifices in the short term to gain something, for me, I believe, for all of eternity. So I'm willing to give up something today that something is going to bring something for all of eternity. If somebody doesn't have that driving force, by and large, they're probably not going to go ahead and get their business to run without it. That's my own opinion. Other questions? Thoughts? Yes?
You're a great motivator, Mark.
Peter and I, probably 6 years ago, I'm guessing, we had a conversation on the phone. And Peter asked me, he said, Mark, what's the secret to motivating my people? And so we did a coaching session on that, a couple of them. And he said, you know, one of those that he followed real strong was Jim Rohn. Okay, he had just passed away, not too much, like a few months before that we had talked. And he said, well, Mark, Jim Rohn says that he didn't know how to motivate people, so he found motivated people. Well, if I was a normal human being, it's like, well, if Jim Rohn doesn't know how to motivate people, how in the world am I going to figure it out? But don't think like that. And so I went and said, okay, well, I'm gonna figure out how to motivate people. So I started asking all the people, and I know a lot of smart people. God has blessed me to bring a lot of people into my life that are very, very brilliant. And so, you know, I was invited to the White House. I know, you know, CEOs of worldwide organizations. I asked them all, what's the secret to motivating people? None of them came up with a very good answer. So I'm really frustrated because I can't find the answer to the question how to motivate people. The 3 bachelor's degrees that I have, one in finance, one in management, one in marketing, none of that helped. All the people I knew, none of that helped. All the books I'd read, none of that helped. All the knowledge I had, I did not know the secret. Sometime, I'll go ahead and bring 2 of my nieces out. They live on the East Coast, and they and I started to connect every Saturday at 3 o'clock. You guys could actually join us if you wanted to on the conference calling line. And so they and I are co-authoring a book, and the book is titled Relationships for Lifetime. And so when they were 5 and 7 is when they're starting. Now they're 10 and 12. And so last 5 years we've been going through this on how do you create relationships for a lifetime. So they were 5 and 7 at the time. And I said, Brianna, Olivia, sweethearts, Uncle Mark's really struggling on, you know, how to motivate people. And you guys probably don't know Mr. Rohn. He's really, you know, successful guy worldwide. I was just wondering, do you girls, again, a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, having, you know, the young people here today, really powerful. And they'll if they continue to come, they will open up your eyes. Next month, Ben is going to be speaking. And when you see him get up and he performs next month, it'll rock your life. You'll be like, oh my gracious, I wish my kids could do something like that. I wish I could present like he presents. He has a natural gift. Nothing against Ben, he doesn't. He does not have a natural gift. He's just a really hard worker and he loves to speak. So his presentation, he and I spoke. Tim and Ben actually started speaking professionally when they were 5 and 7 years old. Any child, any person can be taught. He's going to present next month, and he spent, I think it was 50 hours on a 6-minute presentation. And it'll rock your life. You bring people, you bring kids, and it will change people. It'd be great if we could get the press in here, get TV in, because when it happens, it's going to be smoking hot. And being able to go through it. So I asked him, I said, you know, Brianna, Olivia, sweetheart, any ideas on the secret to motivating people? Brianna, bless her heart, 7 years old. She says, whoa, Uncle Mark. She's like, the way they motivate us to sell cookies in Girl Scouts is to tell us stories. It blew my mind. Blew my mind. I know that the best salespeople in the world are the best storytellers. I knew that. Okay? Jesus, sharing parables, stories. I mean, and the best teachers are the storytellers. And I wasn't a storyteller until that moment. And I was taught by a 7-year-old girl on how to motivate. You motivate based on sharing stories. So there's a science behind all of this. When I ask a number of gentlemen, when I first became a grandfather, I said, man, I want to be the most amazing grandfather on the planet. How am I going to do that? I'm going to ask, you know, other grandfathers, what's it take to be the most amazing grandfather? My uncle, he said, you know, Mark, your grandkids love to hear stories. It's stories, it's stories, it's stories, it's stories, it's stories, it's stories. It's box 12. I don't know that we're going to have time today. Probably not, we'll see. Depends on how many other questions. We were looking having two trailers today shot. Next month we're going to have a 2-camera shoot, I believe. And so we'll have more capacity to go ahead and have this, and then in the conference room I think we're going to be able to shoot testimonies. So two that we were looking at is one is Action Vision, you know, so getting testimonies on that, and then the other is to go ahead and have Mastermind partnerships, to have testimonies on that. Those were the two. I don't know that we'll get to them, but that's the secret for reproducing yourself. Get a trailer. Get something that goes through. It's a minute to 2 minutes. It just goes right through it, and then get that out, and it goes back into your database. So Bruce is really, I mean, he's picking this up so fast. I mean, I shared with him, I said, you know, an EVA is your greatest business asset, not only for your business, and it's not only for your business, but for everybody else's business. So, I mean, I personally know Bruce's EVA. I actually contract with her firm as well. That also is Peter's EVA, that is also Edward's EVA. So that network is really powerful. So if I have an idea, all I've got to do is run it by Bruce. Hey Bruce, here's an idea. He says, yep, thumbs up, looks good. And then his EVA takes care of everything. So now I'm marketing to them. If any one of them contract with any of the EVAs I'm working with, then what they're able to do is if they know my database, they can just say, Bruce can say, hey, Mark, I know you got this 7+ million, literally, database. Do you have any segments that might go ahead and have this and this and this? Is there any way that I could write, you know, here's what I would like you to say on behalf of me to your database. Could you say that? Sure, go ahead. I don't have to do any of the work. And the EVAs are getting to be so I mean, if I'm gonna trust my business to the EVA, actually very soon, you don't even have to run it by me. So they know my business as well or better than I do, so they can just go ahead and they can do all this magic behind the scenes. They'll say, you know what, Bruce, this is what we'd like for Mark and for you to say about Mark to your database. He's like, thumbs up. I won't even be. I'll be over in India or China. And they'll be the ones that run everything. So Bruce talks to them, or they just come up with the idea on their own, and Bruce runs it by them and says, hey, we'd like to go ahead and tap into Mark's database. We'd like Mark saying this. I think he would. This, and the EVA's just, yeah, it sounds good. So everything's running. The system is running without me. Good question, good thought. Other questions, other thoughts? Now we had 5 new, 4 of you are still here. I am most intrigued by the 4 of you. And so Steve, can you share with us, yeah Jonathan, get a good shot of this. If you could look into the camera or, you know, whatever, if you could share, like, what was the tipping point that caused you to actually attend?
Okay. I got on a call one Saturday morning. Had to be maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And I was impressed with the call. I really didn't know what was all involved, but I liked the way you handled the call. We had a call after with Teresa, and I told you that. It was quick, to the point. I didn't understand everything that was going on. So I've been getting a lot of emails, several a day, and I don't understand the whole thing. You know, I don't understand all the graphs and stuff like that. But I was interested in Mastermind. I think with more minds, you get a lot more done. So I was always interested in the concept of the Mastermind. And, you know, I put it on my calendar. Usually I do things really fast. I got married 10 days after I met my wife. Wow, so I usually charge into things. This just took me longer. I think maybe because it was farther away. And that's really no excuse, because if you really want to come, you're going to come. I came from Buffalo Grove. And it really took me maybe 40 minutes. Well, it wasn't bad.
Was it worth the 40 minutes?
Oh, absolutely. I want to tell you, today blew my mind with many things. The the personality traits. I was telling Kevin that I have trouble with that. I have trouble with that with all my years. You know, I don't ask the question, what's the biggest challenge in your life, and really listen. Listening is a very difficult skill for me. I know we have 2 ears, but it's a very difficult skill because I'm a driver. You know, I used to turn around financially troubled hospitals, and man, you go. You just go. And sometimes you think, well, you want everybody to do what you do, but they're not. Some are fun-loving, some are analytical, and so it piqued my interest. I love the DNA of business. I'd like to learn that for sure. You know, you told me things that I never thought of. I like process. I'm not good with process. I'm disorganized. If you came to my house, you'd see on my desk just cards. That's the way I run it. I'm not good with the computer. I'm not organized, but I need process. I love what you just said. I mean, everything you said I agree with. I found it all in my life. My whole life was exactly what you're talking about. And it blew my mind. And I'd love to come to your Thursday meetings, and I'll be here, and I'll be on the call on Saturday. And I thought it was great. I love the presenters. I love what came out of their mouths. It blew me away.
That's awesome. So there is a science behind this that it will blow your mind. I mean, it'll blow your mind. I mean, I know exactly what just happened. See, the difference between somebody who attends this event and somebody who doesn't is just a little bit.
Well, that's what I was telling you. You got to be present.
Right.
You can't really tell from something you receive on your computer or even on the call. I'm sure after you learn more and you're here for a while, then it makes sense to you. But until you come and experience the atmosphere, you know, the people, you have no idea. You have no idea. You have to come to listen.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take Jonathan. He's my oldest son. He's 24, and we really appreciate having him behind the camera today. And he has wanted to, since he was just a young boy, produce movies. And just a young man. And so there's the magic of the big screen. There's the magic of video. There's something magical that will... So we have to figure out how do we get that. And then each one of you have got to take that video, and if it's only 2 minutes long, watch the 2 minutes and then attend. I mean, just watch the 2 minutes and attend. Any business owner you know would gain benefit from this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Steve, talk to him a little bit before, mapped it out, got it sorted, kind of said, okay, this is what we're kind of looking at. So we're going to take this, a box 12, and we're going to genetically implant that into some type of media. And why people do not attend, we're going to surgically take this, put this in here, we're going to put it back up into here, we're going to drive it into here, we're going to drive it into there. I mean, it's with absolute precision that we execute. Anybody have any idea why? I'll tell you. It's because right now, all over the world, there are girls being raped while I'm up here, check, 30 times a day. That really, really ticks me off. So I have 4 daughters, I have 3 sons. And you know what? I'm going to put a stop to it. I'm going to figure out how to build a system. It's not for the money. It's to help those girls because they don't have a dad or a grandfather that's been able to go ahead, so I'm going to do it. And that's what's going to happen. It's predestined. It's elected. I've known it since I was 8 years old. This is what's going to happen. That's why it's so precision. It's not for the business. Business is just fun stuff. It's like, oh, that's cool. We can get more business. Oh, that's cool. But that's not the real stuff. That's not the real motivation. I'm secondary analytical, okay? So, I mean, there is some analytical in me, but mostly it's drive. That's why we have the precision that we do. And so, people that are close, they're moved by, every dad on the planet, every dad that has a daughter should be involved in stopping child trafficking. It's a male issue. Males are going to have to stomp it out. Love the women. Women can be involved, but you know what? This is a man thing. We're going to go in. We're not going to take any prisoners. I mean, it's just not going to happen. We're going to bring the money. We're going to bring the resources, and we're going to go ahead and prevent girls from getting in, because there's models out there. The group I'm talking to this afternoon, they have predictors out there that they can predict which girls are going to be brought into it. And before they're brought into it, they can rescue them. We're going to go ahead and help Home of Hope out in Houston. Girls that are in, we're going to rescue them out, and we're going to give them a home, and we're going to give them a family for the rest of their life. Because that is what, if I wasn't around, and my girls got into that, if that's what I would want. It is my responsibility as a dad. And so there's dads that, yeah, we need to do something, but then they don't do it. Well, we're going to have some tipping point moments, and we're going to help them to see the benefit. Same thing with heroin overdoses. You know what? I mean, God's blessed where we've had our share of challenges with all of our kids, but God is blessed we've never had any of that. Am I going to just wait for one of my kids to go ahead and die of a heroin overdose before I get passionate about it? Is that what it's going to take? I hope not. And so all of these causes, we have the capacity with the systems, with our businesses, we have the capacity to take on us. Any cause that comes to us, we can take them on. Veterans, we can take them on. Child trafficking, we can take it on. Heroin overdoses, we can take it on. Abuse, we can take obesity, we can take it on. And we can take on anything, any cause that comes. With the systems, we can do it all. I mean, that's really what it's all about. The business side, you just need to do that. So, as Tom says, you just need to do that so you can buy your time back. So you just do what you want to do. All right, any other closing comments? So I don't know how long I am going to be able to be here every month, okay? I honestly don't know. I know that if I'm over in India, if I'm in China, okay, I probably am not going to be on a beach. Well, maybe 1 month. I might be on with my wife, okay? I might be there, but by and large, if I'm not here, I'm going to be outreaching other individuals. And the real success is when you're able to take this over. The real success is when you're able to reproduce, like the group did today, amazing presenters. I mean, you guys are all just amazing. But then getting other people. I'd love for each one of you, Mark has a goal, I found out, a month ago, that he has a passion about, speaking. He wants to be a professional speaker. And every month he's getting better. I can see it, I understand how it's going to happen. And that's going to help grow his business. And that's true with every one of us. I mean, speaking, when you learn how to do it, when you learn how to be an attractor of people, when you learn how to draw people together, whatever your dreams, whatever your goals, whatever your passions are, it's going to be escalated. It's going to grow in an amazing way. All right, if you're listening, do the bonus session. I don't even know what to tell you. I guess it's to, get your light vision, watch Kevin's video. I mean, amazing video on how to put together your own light vision. If you have any questions on anything we've covered today, feel free to connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll-free 888-230-2300. That's 888-230-2300. Or if you're calling in outside the U.S., you can call the U.S.-based number 630-393-9909. That's 630-393-9909. God bless and have an amazing day. Bye-bye.